Yes, we are live. Yes. Hi,
Let's just
everyone.
wait. Okay, I think we can start.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the apps campaign this session related to apps campaign fundamentals, and you'll be learning a lot about campaign managements and setup and optimizations related to your apps campaigns. With that being said, we'll quickly dive into the introduction part here. So, my name is Vinay Mishra, and I've been associated with digital marketing firm ecosystem for 8+ years now, and I've been into multiple roles wherein I've been part of optimization, troubleshooting, and campaign management. With that being said, I would like to invite my co-host Shashank here for a quick intro, and he'll be taking you through the session. I'll be joining in the later half. Thank you. Sashank, over to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shashank Srivastava. I'll be your co-facilitator today, along with Vinay, and I'll be taking you through with different app campaign stuff. And just to give you a quick peek through, I have like close to a decade of experience into the edtech industry, and I'm your product expert for the day. So having said that, let's start with the App Stellar session. So quickly taking you through the agenda of today's Connect, we'll be covering the introduction to app campaigns, like what exactly the app campaigns are, why do we need them, what are the different type of app campaigns. We'll also cover different type of bidding strategies that we have available based on your marketing agenda, and also the different measurement techniques that you can use to track your campaign's performance, because having a campaign is one thing, but then tracking the performance is a very important pillar of running a successful app campaign. And last but not the least, we'll cover the optimization, creatives, and evaluating creative performance. So let's start. All right. So the question that comes to our mind whenever we listen about app campaigns is, why do we exactly need app campaigns? So I would like to tell you that based on some recent surveys, we have seen that the tech industry, the online industry is changing very quickly, and so are the customers. With the new Gen Z population, the customers are going more online. The footfall to the offline stores is in comparison slightly lower, and the online data usage is increasing day on day, which is leading to usage of different technologies which we have in place to make sure that our products are available to our customers anywhere and everywhere. Having said this, we'll talk about the customers. So technically, there are no web customers. These are just customers. Now we'll quickly talk about the mobile usage. So these days, users 90% of the time are on their mobile, and from that mobile time as well, 90% plus of the time is used in either going through the web app or surfing different content, or they're spending their time on different applications, playing games, going through their social media content, understanding, like people even have different apps installed to give them a daily overview of what's happening in different places, like to just be aware of different things that is happening around the world. So people are 90% of the time on their mobile phones, and in this 90% of the time they are on their applications, on the apps that they have installed in there. So this makes the app campaigns very important. And before we just dive into the different app campaigns setup and the reasons, I'll just tell you that based on some recent surveys, 78% of the consumers would rather access a retail from an app, not the web browser. So the reason is, based on a survey, we have seen that users find applications easy to use, easy to handle. Different options are easily available. It also doesn't face different lag as you can see on different web browsers. Due to these reasons, the application usage is increasing day on day. 78% customers, as just mentioned, are liking app usage more over the browser usage. And that is one of the reasons why the app campaign these days is pretty important. Having said this, I would quickly take you through the inventories that the app campaign covers. So the app campaign covers Google Play, Google Search, the display network, shots. So all these inventories, whenever users are available there, your application ad can definitely pop up, giving them a sign that, yeah, this business is there in the market and you should give it a go. And just to get that attention, we can do a little optimization with the creators, which we will cover later on in the slides. Now, this is one this is one of the very important slides which will tell you that how we target users. So in the app campaigns, we have a combination of data. One is Google data, one is advertiser data. Now, question comes, what is Google data? Google data is the granular location targeting. Like if you're launching a business, say in New York, so what regions it would be impacting, what should be the device that you should target, the placement as in the kind of users you would like to target. For example, say it's a game app and you would like to target users who are having more interest into gaming apps, so you would target placements wherein information about gaming apps is widely available so that the system can understand and feed this information to the backend algorithm that these are the right users to target. Then it's about queries. You can add different queries to your application for the system to understand what your end user is. If your end user is searching for a certain query which is in your system, that is the right end user. In addition to this, there is advertiser data. Advertiser data is web usage referrals. Like if users are going to different websites and they see data about your application or your app, are they interested in it? Then it comes about engagement, sessions, duration, as in whenever users see your app, do they install it, do they bounce back? If they install it, if they uh, then stay on the app, if they take an in-app action, or just leave it after installing it. So these are some data that system uses to target the right users and make sure that your app launch is a success. Now we'll quickly cover the different type of app campaigns that we have in store for you. So app campaigns are always linked to your broader marketing objectives. For example, if there is a user in the market who is launching a big game, so for them, they can use the campaign type app campaign for pre-registration because they want to see how many users would be interested in their game and would like to install the app once it's launched in the market. The second campaign type is app campaign for installs. So if you just want to drive app installs, and your marketing goal could be either say flight booking or travel booking, or if say you have an e-commerce website for which you have just launched an app and now you just want to drive campaign installs. So for that, you can use this kind of campaign type. The third one is for engagement. So now say you have a travel booking app and you want to drive engagement in that app. For example, you want to drive users to book a flight from X location to Y location or book a hotel reservation. For this, you can use this type of campaign. The only problem with app campaign for pre-registration is currently it's Android friendly. It doesn't work for iOS, but the other two campaign types work on both the platforms. Now we'll talk about the marketing stages, and this will highlight the reasons about which campaign type you should prefer once you're launching an app campaign. So one is pre-launch, then comes growth, then comes maturity. Pre-launch is again, say if you have a gaming application that you're launching and you want to engage with users who would be interested in your gaming app and would like to install it once it's launched, you can go for a pre-launch. Second comes growth. Growth is when you have already launched an app. Now you're talking about scaling the business. Say you have an e-commerce application and you want to scale it. So that section comes under growth. Third is maturity. Maturity talks about retaining customers, uh, making sure that the customers who install your app remains with the app for a long duration, drive several thousands of in-app actions. So that is maturity. When you have already scaled the business, now you just want to make sure that the business stays stable on that position or further grows. So that is the maturity stage of the business. Now we'll talk about the different bidding strategies that we have in place. The bidding strategies always are should be aligned with the campaign objective. And let me just start covering it one by one for you. And before we dive into the bidding strategies, I would quickly like to take you through the manual levers of app campaigns. So in an app campaign, there are different segments. We can call them the building pillars, which are essential to be done in the right manner. So the app campaign becomes a huge success in the long run. The first one is event selection. Event selection is trying to understand for what kind of event you would like to have an app campaign in place. It could be say a new brand launch, a product launch, a gaming application launch. So you need to understand event. You need to understand what would be the right users who would be interested in that event and do the right targeting kind of stuff. Second one is bidding. So whenever we are launching a new campaign, and if we certainly start with giving a certain target to our bid strategies might not work in the right format. The best way is to give it a free hand for some time, see what target cost per installer, target cost per acquisition we are achieving. And based on that, we can firstly spend some time in the campaign learning. Once the learning has been achieved, then we can start giving some targets to the system so it can start optimizing the performance up and down to make sure we are hitting that target. And this way, bid strategies will help your campaign perform better. Third one is budget. So having the right budget for your campaign is also very important aspect of it, because say if you're launching a campaign that has a reach of 1 million users, however the budget is very limited, say just $100 a day. So this way your campaign reach will get limited. You won't be able to reach those many users. And now once we start missing out on users, there's a high chance we start missing out on long-term loyal customers, in-app actions that we are actually targeting for. So having the right budget is also a very important factor. You should always check what is your market reach, how many users you would be reaching, and based on that, you should get an estimate and use the right budget for that campaign time. The last and not the least is the ad creative. So ad creatives is again a very essential pillar for driving the right campaign engagement, because creative helps get the attention of the end users. If you're showing impactful images coupled with the right headlines that your users are looking for, there's a high chance that the user will end up clicking on your ad and installing your app. However, say on the other hand, if you're having a lame creative with not very impactful headlines, there's a high chance that user will just overlook that. So overlooking the creative is not something we are looking for. Hence, we should always have a very strong creative strategy in place and make sure we are doing the right experiments in time to understand which creatives works the best and keep those creatives in the campaign for the long run. Coming on to the next slide, we'll quickly do a deep dive for the different bidding strategies that we have in place. So the different bidding strategies, as you can see in your screen, are maximize conversions, TCPI, install advanced TCPA, and target OS. And let me now explain them one by one to you. So maximize conversions or maximize installs for app campaign is a bidding strategy that you should stick with whenever you're launching a new campaign targeting installs. For example, again, let's take an example of a gaming application. You are a big business in the market. However, you are launching a new gaming segment and you want to target users who would be interested in that gaming app who can end up installing your application, then you should always go for maximize conversions or maximize installs. Now, next strategy is target cost per install. So let's say your gaming app has been launched already, and now you're in the market for some time, and now you're trying to optimize the cost per acquisition. For example, if your say target cost per install is $40, you're aiming to bring it down step by step. For that, you can use target cost per install. You can use the strategy to check what is the current cost per install you're getting and start slightly reducing the target. And this way, it will help you to reach the target you're looking for. So again, if you're getting a target cost per install, say $40, you want $20, you can do that in a step-by-step manner and see how much it is impacting your campaign's overall reach and what is the that sweet spot wherein your target cost per install is met without impacting the overall campaign's performance. Now, third strategy that we would be talking about is installs advanced. So this kind of bidding strategy is used for widely used by say e-commerce brands for driving some in-app action. So say there is a very big store talking about say leather bags, and they are launching a new leather bag category, and now they want to drive users to click on that leather bag category and join the wait list. So they have big banners mentioned on the website that the leather bag category would be launched by say 15th of June. And now they want to see how many people are actually interested in joining the wait list. So in order to track this in-app action, they can have use install advanced bidding strategy that will effectively train the algorithms to target the right users and drive that in-app action. So this bit strategy will help the algorithms to drive the users to join the waitlist for that particular product, which is about to get launched. Now, the next bit strategy is target cost per acquisition or target cost per action in the case of app campaigns. So say there's a business like uh, a big business which is targeting say flight booking. So I'm just trying to pick that example because 90% of the users are on a daily basis booking flight to some location or the other. So I'm just picking that example. Now you want to drive users to book flight using your application and at a certain cost. So just to make sure that you are driving that action, this bid strategy for this business model fits the best. Next is target return on ad spend. So target return on ad spend is again a bid strategy widely used by big e-commerce businesses because they want to see how many users they're getting on their apps and how many users they are able to retain. What is the lifetime value for each user and what is the return on ad spend that they are achieving? For example, uh, they are able to influence say 1,000 users to install their application and start purchasing from it. So some of the actions that they usually track is what is the return that they are getting, like what is the total sales that they're getting, and what is the lifetime value for each user, and how much amount they're actually spending on that user to convert him over time. So this is the target ROAS bid strategy, which is again very widely used by e-commerce brands. Now, moving on to the next slide. So this slide talks about transitioning from one bidding strategy to another. So like in the last slide, I explained that there are several bidding strategies that you can use based on your marketing agenda, marketing goal. Uh, this slide talks about how you can transition from one bidding strategy to another. For example, if you're using, say, if you're using maximize conversions or maximize installs in app campaign, however, in the long run, you want to have a certain target around which you would like to your campaigns to be optimized to say you are spending $40 again and you just don't want to spend more than $20 for each install. So you want to transition from maximize installs to target cost per install. So for this, what you can do is start with a maximize installs campaign, let it run for some time, see how many users that campaign is reaching, what is the overall performance, if the spread is wide enough or not. And after some time, when you see that the campaign has enough learning, that's the point when you can start giving certain targets to your bidding strategy. For example, if you see that your average cost per install is again around $40, you can start slightly decreasing it with time. For example, for the first 2 weeks, you change it to $35, you give it a target of $35, then $30. So it starts slightly reducing it. And doing this, you need to keep a check on if the number of users that the campaign is reaching, if that is dropping, if you're still able to run an impactful campaign with the target that you're giving. And once you have that sweet spot below which the campaign's performance start dropping, so you just need to use that target as your ideal amount to for targeting each install. For example, after dropping the target to say $28, you see that below $28, the campaigns reach just starts dropping like anything. So $28 is the right amount that you should be targeting for the long run. And then you can start putting that as the target amount and keep the campaign running, making other optimization changes, expanding the reach, and see if in few weeks you again get a chance to drop it further by a few dollars and see if the performance is stable or not. Then the next is target cost per action. So again, this bid strategies for driving some in-app action. Say if you have an e-commerce brand, you just want the people to install your app first, and then you want them to take an action. So what you can do is it's always suggested for uh, for this particular transition. You can start with cost per action. Uh, you can start with target cost per action right away, let it spend, let it run for some time. And once you see that your campaign has started performing, you can run a separate campaign for TCPA bidding. You should not be making changes to the same campaign, to the same campaign's bid strategy, because that might severely impact the campaign's performance. So it's always suggested as the best practice that you can, once you see that the campaign has started achieving some great performance, you can launch a separate campaign for it. The next one that we will be talking about would be transitioning to the ROAS bidding. So ROAS bidding is again a bidding strategy very widely used by the retail shops online or maybe some e-commerce brands. So you need to, again, it's always advisable to not implement this strategy right away. Rather than doing this, you can again set up a campaign on TCPA bidding, let it run, let it achieve some conversion value, some conversions over time. See what is the overall conversion that you're achieving, what is the conversion value. Once you see that it has already hit a good spot, your campaign has started performing good, that's when you can start creating a new campaign with a target ROAS bid strategy. Why? Because by that time, the algorithm understands that, yeah, for this account, this is the cost per acquisition that we are getting, and this is the user target. The It helps in learning of the algorithms in the backend, and they are the ones driving the entire campaign's performance based on your targeting and stuff. So let it run for some time and then transition to the target ROAS bid. So this is the ideal way of transitioning from one bid strategy to another. Now, let me quickly take you to the next slide. Give me a second. Okay, so now we'll talk about basic app campaign measurement. Having a very strong campaign setup in place is the right thing to do. However, it's of no use if you're not able to track how effectively your campaign is working. Say for tracking the campaign's performance, you need to have the right SDK implementation. You need to set up tracking. You need to measure performance. You need based on you need the performance measurement that you're getting. You will understand how impactful your campaign setup is, and based on those insights, you can start optimizing and running a better campaign. So with having said this, I'll now transfer this to my co-facilitator Vinay to take you through with the different app tracking setups and talk about creative optimization. Over to you, Vinay.
Thank you, Shashank. That was a great session in terms of understanding the fundamentals of apps. And speaking about measurement, it is equally important, as Shashank mentioned, that your once your fundamentals are in place, the next big thing and the next most important thing is to make sure that the tracking is set up right. And when it comes to apps, the tracking is a little, I would say, you have some layers of extra steps that you have to take care when you have to start tracking the app. Now, in terms of the first thing that you have to do is your set up your ad measurement SDK. SDK is nothing but your regular software development toolkit, which will help you deploy codes on your measurement partner that you're using. So, for example, if you're using any per se, if you're particularly using Google Analytics or Firebase or any third-party applications, you can implement SDK via that. And then the next thing that you have to do once you set up your measurement is you have to set up your tracking, conversion tracking, and you have to start your campaign. And that's when the you will be able to measure if everything, the tracking is in place. And then we have your measurement performance, right? In terms of when we're talking about measurements performance here, then you'll have to measure whatever conversions that you have set up in your app's background and in your Google Ads account, are they being measured right? Then according to the data that you have that you've got in based on how the transition of bidding strategies, as Shashank mentioned in the earlier slides, so you can all, based on that, you can optimize your account to see if everything is working well, or if there is something that you have to work on. Then accordingly you can run your campaigns better when you're following this life cycle. Great. Now, the next thing that we have here is the app campaign measurement ecosystem. So we'll be talking about the measurement ecosystem, how it works. Before that, I see a question here. Let me just quickly um, take that up. Okay. It says, hello, so we are running the different app campaigns since last 3 months. Can we start campaign with target CPA, TCPA, direct campaigns, or we have to? So, Tejas, thank you for your question. I would like to understand if have you got enough conversions in place? Like, since you're already running your apps campaigns, what exactly you're running your apps campaigns for? Is it for installs or for in-app actions? If it is for installs, if you have enough installs in your place, then you can go ahead and make a transition, as previously mentioned, to the new bidding strategy, which is target CPA, so that this in the same campaign, so that now this if you have enough installs, I would ideally say at least 50 conversions in terms of installs. And again, in terms of your in-app actions, if you have an in-app actions, you can always include in-app actions again as 50. See that you are well optimized, and then go ahead and change the bidding strategy there. I hope that answers your question. Great. Now, speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about the measurement ecosystem that we have. Now, and when we're talking about the measurement ecosystem, what are the device IDs? And so basically, uh, let's understand how we track users in terms of apps, right? So the first thing here is we we have device IDs in apps than your regular cookies which you have in your web browsers, right? These are your identifiers that can be used by uh, the third parties as well. So typically, this is only, as I've mentioned, this is only for app measurement platforms, but not for web browsers. And it is retrievable information. And as I've mentioned, it is not available in your web browsers again. So it is optional. Again, it is an opt-in basis in terms of iOS. So basically, the users have an option to opt in or opt out in the initial stage itself. Whereas for Android, it is based on opt-out basis. So by default, the users are opted in, but if they want to opt out, they can do that as well in on and specific to Android. Then we have users resettable. These are anonymous, and these we also have static IDs with by defined for the users. Now, how do we track the measurement here? So, firstly, let's understand what are the key players in your mobile app marketing space. So, as you can see on your screen, we have ad networks platforms. So, ad network platforms are something which will help you promote your applications. So, mobile applications, which is your Google Ads, Meta, Snapchat, TikTok, AppJoy, and there are multiple other ad networks and platforms which will help you promote. In terms of tracking this part, we have your app attribution partners, or which we call it as this will help you track, which is your Google Analytics or Firebase. Then we have third party app attribution partners which are coming into the picture, which is Kochava, Apps Flyer, Adjust, Branch, and so on, as you can see on the screen. And the operating systems and that you're dealing with here at the moment is your uh, Android. So with Android, uh, this is available on Google Play Store, and at the same time, if we are talking about iOS, it is on the App Store here. Great. So options for now, let's understand what are the how we can start measurement. What are the options that we've got with Google? Now there are three options as you can see on the screen. First is your Google Play Store, where this will help you track your conversions, and at the same time, we do not require an SDK here, right? So if you want to just track the conversions, you do not have to so for example, if you just want to track installs but you don't want to track the in-app conversions, then Google Play can be your best source of, but again, you do not require any SDK here. This is free of cost. This will help you track only app campaigns installs only. And whereas if you want to track in-app conversions, now let's explore the options that we've got. The first option that you can the second option that you see on the screen is your Google Analytics for Firebase. Now with that, you will be able to, it is available at for Google and other ad networks as well, some other ad networks. And in terms of here, you will require an SDK. So so you have to ensure that the SDK is in place. So you have enabled the codes on the back end of your app so that you are able to track this. And this is free of cost. And this is again, this will help you track your campaign installs, actions value, and re-engagement as well. Now in terms of other third-party app attribution partners, you this is also available for Google Plus ad networks. Then you have SDK reporting, which is SDK which is required here. And then you have, this is based on, you have to pay to use the third-party app attribution partners if you want to track your in-app measurements. Then you have app campaign. This will help you also track app campaign install, actions, and re-engagement. However, having said that, you have multiple options to track with Google Ads, because if you want to promote your app campaigns, we would always recommend to use Google Analytics for Firebase. Reason being, it's a first thing, it is a first party tool, measurement tool, and it will help you also build on the audience signals, which later can be used for your campaign targeting as well. And besides that, you will also be able to track multiple sources, and you will also be able to allow bidding in terms of if you have to do a conversion based specific bidding. That is possible if you're using Google Analytics for Firebase. So let's say you have multiple conversions but you want to work on a specific conversion that you have, and you want to bid for that specific conversion, and that is only possible when you're using Google Analytics for Firebase SDK, right? And so that's always recommended to use Google Analytics for Firebase with an additional app tracking third-party app attribution partner that you already have. So the reason why I say that is, so because we have if you are promoting your apps on multiple different ad networks as let's say you're promoting it on Google Ads and other self-reporting ad networks, then in that case you will have one specific app attribution partners which is working towards your optimization and at the same time reporting. Whereas in terms of since there are also other platforms that you're promoting on, so you can have a compare the comparison of both. A best recommendation would be having Google Analytics for Firebase and as well as your third-party app attribution partner. Great. Now, having said that, let's talk about the optimizing creatives part. It is equally important to once we are starting measuring the conversions, your creatives matter a lot, right? Because as you can see here, your KPI is again good creatives, which will help you understand the user, which will help you understand the user, gain the user value, and at the same time installs as well. You will be able to differentiate in terms of your advertiser, the assets that you uploaded, the generated creatives that you have, and make sure that you're giving it some time to perform. And at the same time, then if there are any specific optimization that has to go into that, then you can later, once you have given at least good time towards a particular asset to perform, then you can try refreshing and the text that you also have, so that you can later optimize your campaigns accordingly. So we have another question here. Let me take that up real quick. Okay. We have enough installs and purchases, 100 plus. Now goal is to scale it. We started with installs, then CPA. So ideally, I would recommend you. So if your current campaign is working towards installs, then definitely, and you have enough goals in place, you can definitely go ahead and use the same goals, and to either you can use this transition from the target maximize conversions to target CPA here, and later to the target ROS. So if you have 100 plus goals, I would definitely recommend you to do that. Having said that, again, you have to keep a close eye, and this and the same time make sure that you're tracking and at the same time optimizing well as to the best practices that we have mentioned so far. Great. Now, here, assets are the building block for your creatives. As you can see here on the screen, we have so your manual assets that you're uploading in terms of your text creatives that you're going ahead and designing. These are really crucial for your business in terms of how you're writing these specific assets, because we have to make sure that we are using the right context, that we are able to give the right information in terms of the business information here, because the more information and at the same time the right keywords that we're using in your in your manual assets, that's better. And then we also have auto assets which will help you target as well. So as I've mentioned before, each asset will act as a building block for many creatives to be assembled, both those who have uploaded to Google Ads and others pulled in directly from the app listing page. These are combined together to generate creatives at that group level. Great. Let me quickly go to the second slide, and this will help you. So as you know that the apps have been placed at different networking tracks. So if you are placing your ads on multiple different inventories, such as like Google Play, Google search while the users are searching on something, then you have platforms engaging like you have your display network, and in terms of Gmail again, and while the users are surfing through the web, and at the same time while the users are watching the content on YouTube, you can go ahead and optimize, and at the same time make sure that you have all the images, videos in place in while you're creating your apps campaign. Or if you already have an apps campaign, please make sure that you all have all the creatives in place, because your if you have all the creatives, you will be able to fully utilize the inventory that we have got for apps. So for example, if we do not have let's say videos, then we are missing out on a content where we can go missing out on certain placements where we can go ahead and place our apps, right? So this is really crucial to understand, and at the same time ensuring that we are able to utilize the maximum of the what apps campaign has to offer. Great. Now let's quickly understand what does optimal assets portfolio look like in terms of your apps campaigns, right? So as you can see here, we have text, we have images, then you have your video and your HTML5 ads that we have to offer when it comes to apps campaigns, right? So considering we have discussed about the importance of the creatives, where all assets will be served as ad, uh, are you interested in knowing optimal assets mixing? Now, let's think about building a well-rounded asset portfolio. This visual represents shows the recommended caps for different assets types within the each ad group. For for text, you should aim for a cap of 10. So you should have at least 10 which is 5 headlines and 5 description headlines. And for image and video assets, we recommend a cap of 20 each, right? So being said that, because it enables you to serve on different if you're able to upload different aspect images, ratio images and videos, we are able to serve across different placements as well. And similarly for HTML5 assets, the cap is 20 again. So the overlapping circles that you see here are visually represents the idea of diverse mix of these assets. Asset types leads to an optimal asset mix per ad group by providing a variety of high quality assets in each of these categories. You give Google's machine learning a system more options to create effective ads and reach wider audiences. So we have certain pro tips that you can use to write text ads. Let's go ahead and talk about that now. So while you're working towards your tech stats, the first thing that way we can focus on, the first thing that we will definitely be focusing on the acquiring the users, right? This is something that we definitely want. So text assets have the highest CVR compared to all other assets type, right? They have broadest reach across your app campaigns compatible properties. And while Google Ads won't translate your ad, certain text elements like your app title will be localized based on the users detected locally. For for example, let's say for example you have US, right? So the location localization is enabled based on the app metadata pulled from your Play Store or App Store. Great. Now let's quickly talk about the approaches that you have to follow while you're going in and promoting your app, and at the same time writing your text ad. Let's talk about crafting the compelling ad copy of your app campaigns. The key is your modular text assets. Instead of writing full ad sentences, we create a collection of phrases that Google AI can mix and match. So think of it like a building blocks, as if we have mentioned in the previous slides here, right? Now, how do we approach writing these phrases? There are several ways. You can start by briefly introducing your app, what's its core purpose, grab attentions with a snappy, intriguing line, just avoid the overlap of the top claims, then highlight the benefits, what problems your app solve, then what is ensure that you're highlighting the unique purposes of your app, and at the same time finally include clear means clear call to actions. right? Because it is important to highlight what is really important for our app, and at the same time, these should align with your campaign goals as well. Again, so if your goal is towards if your goal is towards conversions, getting more installs or getting in engagement, so your text also should speak that. If you're And at the same time, you can use phrases like download now, play now, for or driving purchases. Highlight deals, like you can go ahead and discount. You can highlight if you have certain discounts in terms of if you want to focus on the purchases. You can let them know that you have get a 5% off now or save now. Remember, each phrase that you have should stand on its own, grammatically correct and ready to be combined with others. This flexibility allows Google system to test numerous ad variations and optimize for the best performance for in your app's campaign. Let's now talk about the pro tips that we have for image assets here. Now, as you can see, we have three, as previously mentioned, we have three different types of app campaigns, which is your app campaigns for installs, app campaigns for engagement, and app campaigns for pre-registrations, or this is something for Android only. Then these are the three different image ratios that you get. So you, as I've mentioned, that you have to have at least good number of 20 images. So you can, these are the images, and the news file size limit. The good news is we have you can upload file size limits up to 5 MB here, which is going to the all the entire thought process here is to make sure that the users are, you're able to showcase your ads in a more high end image quality. So that's what it will enable you to do that. So before that, what changes in terms of your so, for, so let me go ahead and quickly deep dive into this and help you understand. Formally, apps campaigns allowed advertisers ability to upload images in the vast number of sizes, but the 30 place images sizes across app campaigns became overwhelming for our advertisers. So over the past couple of years, we've launched image simplifications, which aims to create a cohesion across all campaign types, including your app subtypes, by aligning three simple ratios. As you can see, it is 1:1. Then you have one. 191 is to 1, then we have 4 is to 5, with file size, as I've mentioned here, which is of 5 megabytes. Great. Now, having said that, let's now go ahead and talk about the standard high quality images. Speaking of the high quality images, and it is equally important to for us to have ensure that these are something which we are already focusing on. Now, advertisers are a reflection of your so advertisements that you're doing are again reflection of your brand. Your image assets should be appealing and at the same time not detract from your brand credibility. We have recommended that you your simple designs and at the same time accurate information, and avoid using squid, oddly shaped, unclear, and excessively filtered images. So what it does is, because the better creatives that you're promoting, and at the same time, uh, so you have to make sure that your promotions that you're doing and the images that you're using, you have to keep it simple. Ensure that you're not applying a lot of thought process into it in terms of, you cannot show a lot of information from the one single image, right? Because if we're trying to do that, then we have a lot of other aspects which are coming into the picture. Because, and at the same time, we also have to think that this is something which users are, the image that you're seeing, the user is seeing your brand. So you have to make sure that your images are, you have to keep it simple, and which will help you engage with the app content, and at the same time they should be appealing visually, and you avoid making any supercomposing or text with logos here. So that is these are the best practices that you can follow in terms of that. Now let's quickly talk about your HTML5 assets, which are really so. If you have a team which can work towards getting the HTML5 ads for you, that would be really great. Because let me quickly tell you why. Specifically for your app campaigns or installs, and these assets capture the attention of app users in a unique way by being interactive and at the same time entertaining. But it's important to know that we strongly recommend uploading the maximum number of text, images, and video assets before building on your HTML5 ads, right? So, and let's understand what HTML5 ads can bring into a table, and how it can help your app campaigns. So, if the team, as I've mentioned earlier, if your team does have the capability to development for HTML5 assets, we recommend including captions, since HTML5 assets ty- uh, types of assets do not include video or audio. Viewers may not expect ads to be interactive, so provide quick instructions, captions before the play begins, right? Creating something that functions as an introduction or trailer, or and have viewers performing the desired interactive actions within 3 or 4 seconds, and at the same time keeping the ads relatively short, 90 seconds or so, and prioritizing your portrait experience, and considering compatibilities across operating systems that you have. And for those do not have internal team with the technical knowledge to develop HTML5 creatives, Google has the Google Web Designer, which will help you create HTML5 ads. For those do not for those who don't, could refer to the HTML5 ads playable /payable ads for app campaigns in the Google support page that you have. While you while you work on creating these, make sure that you follow the HTML5 requirements as we have listed in our Health Center articles. Now, let's quickly dive into the video assets here and see how video assets help you optimize your campaigns as well. Now, so in terms when you're talking about the video assets here, these are great in terms of capturing the attention with the greater videos. Imagine the users are sitting back and watching your content, right? So this is something which video assets. This is where the video assets shines, and this will help you. Video assets can be significant performer driver, as I've mentioned, based on the recent study that we have. Advertisers that add a video to their app campaigns can expect a see a median 20% increase in the installs without a significant increase in the cost per install. With video assets, advertisers should focus on grabbing the user interest within the first 2 or 3 seconds, because these are the very crucial initial stages, right, of the video. So in our research of successful app videos, we uh, find that an average they contain 2+ cut changes and within the first 5 seconds, which helps deliver dynamic sense of app experience. They should experiment with creating videos around different themes, styles, and subjects. Use varying different lengths. But even with the experimentations, videos should get the app experience quickly as possible, and use tightly framed shots to help viewers focus on the features they can use in app, and the benefits and their benefits in the app later stages. And advertisers should also focus on introducing the branding early and whenever possible throughout the ad. So it is very important that you focus on these aspects while you are uh, working on the video creative. So you have to make sure that you're grabbing the attention real quick, because even if you're failing to do that, there are higher chances of the users not being responsive to your ad. Then diversifying your length on your content, and you have to be impressive throughout the video that you're promoting, and you make sure that you're imposing and at the same time you're promoting your brand as much as possible initial the start, and at the same time to in the middle and towards the end, so that you're able to more you're able to build that connect with the users in terms of your brand. Now, the video assets, the pro tip that we have for video assets in terms of that is video assets can be significant, as I've mentioned, they can be significant performance driver, right? Uh, in terms of multiple studies that we have, as you have mentioned earlier, that we have seen an increase in the median conversions as well. So Google does provide a tons of video inventory across. Uh, you can promote your videos in YouTube, display, and add more, right? So you have multiple placements when it comes to your video assets. So always create a 16:9 ratio videos, and at the same time different multiple different aspect ratios video, which is 2:3 and 1:1. So what happens is you're able to showcase your ads across different platforms, and it extends the reach of all inventory, and in terms of aspect ratios that you can see here. And varying the length, as I've mentioned, you can have multiple videos here across. So it is really important to have multiple different wavelength of the videos, because this is will this will help us understand how the users are interacting, the based on the users mindset as well. There are some users who would quickly connect, where 10 seconds of video is enough, and at the same time we do not want to overshow our ads to them, right? And at the same time, we have users who want to watch more, where we have 30 seconds of video. So that's how, considering creating three different lengths of from one hero content that you already have. So let's now quickly talk about managing all your assets via an ad group. So you can use the ad groups to theme your assets. So firstly, we have to make sure that we have full coverage of the assets, that we having all the assets which are available, we are able to fully utilize that, and then have at least one or two evergreen ad groups, because which will, you can evaluate these ad groups based on and refresh the creators for every 2 to 3 months. So again, as I've mentioned, you have to always keep a close eye on understanding how your assets are performing, and then go ahead and see if the assets have to be changed, because we cannot show the same ad to the users multiple the same ads again and again to the users, right? So you have to also optimize towards and change your creatives, and at the same time you have to be very smart and also consider the data to see what are the types of images or videos that you have to change, right? So you have to, and at the same time, uh, you have to theme your ad group with a consistent message that you're delivering here. So, and this message again has to go with your goal that you have in place for your app campaigns. If it is towards engagement, then the creatives have to speak about engagement. If it is about install, your creatives has to speak about installs. So your message that you're delivering via this the video specifically has to be very important. And then you can consolidate the campaigns to leverage the historical learnings. So the all the so as Shashank mentioned earlier in the slides, that your historical data does play an important role, and at the same time having make sure that you also have your app campaign measurements in place to accordingly optimize. So let's understand how we can evaluate the creative performance. So first thing is your ad strength for app campaigns. So always aim for an ad strength which is either good or excellent, because it. So if you have a good and if you have a ad strength which is good and excellent, what does that mean is you're able to it basically means that you have unlocked full potential of your ad creatives that we have to offer, and your ads is now has unlocked the ability to serve across multiple inventories. And besides that, it is an overall rating, as I've mentioned, in terms of your ranging from incomplete to excellent, is where we are able to you're unlocking multiple ad placements where you're able to show your ads, right? Now, before we wrap up things, we wanted to quickly make you understand that what are the different segment, uh, what the network segments provides additional insights, right? So, if you have a video assets, and these are specifically when I'm talking about cinematic video versus action video. So, in terms of if you have a cinematic video that we have ranked something as best, and if you have an action video that is something which is ranked as good, right? In terms of uh, so beyond just overall performance, breaking down your app campaigns data by network reveals actionable insights. That take a look at this example, right? So as I mentioned earlier, we have two video assets. This performs exceptionally well on YouTube with a higher volume and low CPI, because YouTube's video centric environment aligns perfectly with the cinematic style. The campaign's algorithm recognized and the shift in the budget accordingly. Now, the second video, which is rated good overall, tells a different story. It excels in the Google Display Network, right, and but struggles on the YouTube. This is because the fast paced, action oriented content resonates more than the initial ad format common in the ad mob. So a key of the which is the key of your Google Display Network. So the key takeaway is to don't just look at overall performance, segmented by the network types, which will help you understand why certain assets are succeeding on specific platforms. This will allow you to provide creative team with the targeted feedback, leading to more effective and platform optimized creatives. It's all about understanding the nuances of your how your content connects with users across different environments. With that being said, so always ensure that your videos are well optimized and you're able to showcase your videos the best platforms. So this was I was speaking about the different types of networks here, where cinematic is best for YouTube and action is best for Google Display Network. Great. With that being said, thank you so much for being part of this session today. We are more than happy to take you here. Over to you, Sashant.